You're listening to Edging the Truth.
Welcome to episode 12 of Two Steps from the Edge, a podcast presented by Edging the Truth. I'm here with my co-host Brian this week. We are doing a couple of current topics, or at least revolving around current topics. We do this every other week in between our big episodes. And today, Brian, it's no surprise, you've got an article from the universe of aliens.
Yes, not from the aliens like, the xenomorphs, but yes, aliens in general.
It seems like it's the talk of the town these days.
Yes. Oh, man, especially here in Vegas, it just seems like every single day there's some other new video posted here about aliens. So the article is aliens exist and they use cryptocurrency.
Okay.
Now, so it's a double-edged thing, because this article even says in it it's a little clickbaity, but on the flip side it makes sense, because aliens have, if they're traveling and doing all that stuff, they probably evolved beyond a physical money. You know what I'm saying? It's like they probably have, because it's like, you look at your your if you want to talk your galactic credits, like your Star Wars or any of your Latinum, because Star Trek still did have money in there somewhere. It's just the Federation didn't use no money, but I mean there was still money in the universe. But it's it's a physical thing. But having cryptocurrency makes sense. Some people say that getting us to use cryptocurrency is getting us prepped to join the aliens because they use it and all that stuff. I mean, like they said, there's some sub conspiracies of the cryptocurrency that are their own sub-conspiracies of cryptocurrency. But it makes sense. If you're aliens traveling around the universe, then you probably have some sort of unified, you got to pay for gas somewhere, space gas.
Yeah, barter system, something, right?
But he said even if it's just one species out there flying around, they still have to trade stuff in between them and stuff like that. So it would make more sense that they would have a digital currency as their standard, thing. So
yeah. Isn't that the whole premise of all of the Star Wars prequels, like the Trade Federation? This is all about preserving trade routes between planets and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, honestly, that was just more trade dispute, though. I don't think they really cared about the money part of it. It was just more that they wanted to take over that planet for its resources.
Well, right, but as part of a bigger picture of actually being the bad guys.
But yeah, I mean, even that was
on their way to being a supervillain.
Because galactic credits were a digital currency stuff, and they did not take it in the Outer Rim, hence the pod racing.
Yes. Well, I don't know if do you remember the TV show, the Buck Rogers TV show from the late 70s, early 80s? They had piles of glittery gold coins everywhere. They would go gamble. It was not very different in their prediction of the future. We were just playing with different, I think they were octagon or hexagon coins or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I can't, we were talking before the show about how the X-Files was such a great premise, their big scope picture of, sort of these powerful men on Earth working in tandem with aliens that were at some point in the future going to come and invade. And because of these men's cooperation, they would be safe, they would be immune, they would be whatever I can't remember the exact details of what they were supposedly promised, but I've always felt like that part of it, that one little tiny part of that story does make sense, that if aliens have been coming to Earth for 70 plus years, it's highly unlikely that nobody has ever talked to them. And if there is some vast conspiracy to keep them quiet, one would think that it has something to do with some involvement or at least cooperation by said aliens. But the money part is interesting to me. How do we, I would love to try and get into the logistics of how does an alien convert its current, how does an alien launder money?
That's the thing. So, an alien comes to our planet and, thinking that, I'm going to take over these humans. I'm going to give them some money. And it's but their money don't translate here. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're handing some human stacks of gold, that we have no concept of whatever their crypto is or whatever, So it's that could be one of those things. And I still stand by what I talked about in our aliens episode, where Earth is a tourist destination.
Yes.
And because tourists here be stupid, so international tourists be stupid. So yeah, somebody stopped and asked somebody for directions somewhere along the line, or crashed, or whatever million stupid tourist things go wrong. Just like we have our tourists when something happens on vacation.
Yes.
Your bus rolls over, you crash that moped because you never drove a moped before you were on vacation. It's like the same here. It's like, oh, all of a sudden the aliens are, it's Earth. Let's fucking party. Yeah, do it big. Oh no, we're we hurt ourselves, or we crashed our ship, or whatever. So it's like, imagine being. I mean, it's bad when we're stranded in another country. Imagine being stranded on Earth.
And parts and all of that kind of business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and there ain't no international consulate for Marklar. So
well, the flip side, the corollary argument to this is, whether it's not cryptocurrency, but we have digital banking, now we have, and we have things like PayPal and Zelle and Cash App and Venmo, and I'm sure there's 5 or 6 others that I'm not aware of. I don't even have all of these things locked down. People are like, "Can you Zelle me some money?" I'm like, "I don't have Zelle. I don't even know how to spell Zelle. Sorry."
Yeah. No.
So if we're trying to do this with aliens, I feel like that's a whole another level of.
Yeah.
I don't.
Do you have
we don't take this card.
Our crypto. Yeah. Like, we don't. Sorry, we don't take fucking whatever wacky alien fucking jibber jabber you have here. No, it's like 100%.
And you're gonna have to go get some diamonds and emeralds.
But that's it. It's just incompatible, and it's just So can you imagine like primitive humans? Like if the aliens came down like back in that day, where they're like. Where it's like, oh, here, like, can we make you rich beyond your wildest dreams? And they like look like, oh, we want your shiny beads. It's like, oh, this is garbage to us. Here, take it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like,
yes. I feel like there's too many weird mechanics to the whole argument of the aliens and us, some version of us being in cahoots together. At least in this day and age, I'm sure there's people out there.
There's got to be alien restaurants. I feel like there's got to be alien truck stops. Like there's some sort of space station you have to stop at to, like, come on. I feel like if there got to be all the same shit we have. There's got to be alien drugs. There's got to be alien hookers. They all need money. So there has to be some sort of currency up there. But I mean, but I think the to go full circle in this article is like, it makes sense that like, an international being would use a digital currency, but also just the fact of this article starts off with aliens exist. Like, it's like, it went from maybe somewhere to like, now it's just widely not only known, but accepted.
Yes.
And that aliens exist, and people are just, and that's because the times we live in where people say there's aliens, everybody's like, yeah, whatever. Do you see the sphere? It's like, like they don't care. It's like, it's like, oh, aliens exist. Great. Well, there's a writer's strike on too. So it's like, I want my TV shows. So it's just, it's in the parlance of our lives, dude. It's just, if it doesn't directly affect us, we accept it and move on. And I think that's the thing of COVID. It's like, hey, we just accept that COVID's a thing and we're moving on.
It's sort of that thing of too, where once the government has to make a statement about something, whether it's COVID or aliens or tsunamis and hurricanes in California or whatever, it's past the point of being a particularly relevant topic. It's already past that. It jumps the shark when the government says, we'd like to address blah, 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 blah. So the fact that the government has spent the last month or two talking about aliens, I think has put most people in the mindset of, oh yeah, it's about time they told us. And they don't even care what they actually said. Nobody even really knows what they said in this testimony.
The funniest thing about all of that is like all of these people that said the government's lying to us and covering it up. Now that the government says they're all true, those same people flip to they're lying to us about the aliens. It's like, okay, pick a lane. Either they were lying before, they're lying now. Like, which is it? What are you doing?
Well, this is the perfect transition to the article that I'm bringing in as it pertains to equally interesting government flip-flopping and opinions about why the government would or would not silence somebody. This article comes from NBC News, which I think that's always one of the things that grabs my attention when one of these kinds of conspiracy or fringe stories actually is making national news. This story's headline reads, "Evidence-free conspiracy theories about the Obama's chef get a boost on X, formerly known as Twitter." So this actually has kind of two parts of discussion that I want to raise. One is the fact that there is a conspiracy theory about the drowning death of the Obama's chef while they were in the White House. And
Did he
apparently he
drown
was
in the White House?
paddleboarding. No, he did not. This happened very
Okay.
recently. He was, I guess he was paddleboarding and drowned. He was paddleboarding in a pond with a friend. It was about 100 feet from shore, apparently, where his body was found. You know, there's the whole everything about, oh, well, he was silenced. What did he know? You know, what did he see in his years in the White House? Why did they make him keep him quiet? You know, which I think is sort of standard fare in a lot of ways, right? That conspiracy theories for, you know, anybody related to politics, it seems like that somebody's going to jump out and say, oh, well, they did this for this reason. The other side did it for one reason, or they did it to themselves because of another reason. But what I think I found the most interesting about this article is the second half of the article talks about the fact that X, formerly Twitter, in the wake of Elon Musk's purchase, has become much looser about what it will allow you to post.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're seeing is a proliferation in general of conspiracy theories on Twitter and not in other places. Yes, this Obama chef conspiracy does show up a little bit on TikTok, and it does show up a little bit in other social, you know, Instagram, etc., Facebook. But most of those platforms are really good about saying, hey, this is conjecture. We only want to deal with factual, you know, information.
Yeah.
And as this article states in its headline, there are no factual pieces of evidence to support this conspiracy theory. This is literally just some people who probably, like us, who probably came up with the stupid idea and put it up somewhere and somebody ran with it. But the fact that Twitter, which we've always known has to have been a very fast moving, you know, piece of social media, because of what it is now a free for all for conspiracy theories.
Cesspool, if you will.
And honestly, another way to put it.
This was why Elon wanted to take the block feature off, because it makes it so all of this nut job shit can run wild. Because at this point, we're this many months into Elon's takeover of Twitter, we've all exercised our block button to the extreme.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all these accounts, like I know I have, because when all this other shit started showing up in my feed that I didn't want, I just started blocking stuff. I'm like, I don't give a crap if I ever see from so-and-so account again. Like, I was just block. And it's like, and he's like, oh yeah, we're going to take blocking away. And then you see right below the whole captcha. Yes, blocking is required by Google and Apple Store. You cannot take this feature away. Like, it's like, if he takes it away, it gets deplatformed. So it's like, you have to keep the fucking ability to block, because you can't just force a fire hose of misinformation down my throat whether I want it or not. Which is like, dude, I say fine. If they took the blocks off, that's the death knell for Twitter, which Twitter's already, or X, or whatever the hell you want to call it, is already circling the drain as it is. Because even within Twitter, it's mixed branding still. You know, it's still Twitter Blue. It's still all this other stuff. Like, there's still so many things that say Twitter in the terms and conditions, all this shit. And they're being sued by Microsoft. So, you know, who's the leader of the X brand? Xbox, X, everything. X gonna give it to you. You know, like,
Wait, you don't think Elon's gonna go? Yeah, but I have SpaceX.
But they even had Xbox before. But they had Xbox before SpaceX, bro. So it's
Xbox has been around for what, 20 years? Didn't it have its 20th anniversary or something?
So
no, well,
it's just a garbage platform letting garbage run wild. I mean, that's literally it.
That was the upshot of the article in a lot of ways, was to basically say, hey, look, you know, even Twitter would not comment on this story, the people that posted the stuff on Twitter would not respond to comment for the story. It was again, I appreciate the fact that it's NBC News because they did do their due diligence in trying to create a proper piece of journalism to document the story. And at the end of the day, while there were plenty of things that they could point to and say, hey, these people have said this, they couldn't actually get people to go on the record and talk about what they're saying, which is even crazier. It's back to it's okay for me to type it on the internet and share it with billions of people at once, but I won't talk to somebody out loud one-to-one like we're talking now about the same thing.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, in the end, dude, this was a poor freak accident, and this young man lost his life. Yeah. And all of a sudden, that's all glossed over instead of us, mourning this young man taken too soon.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, what did the chef know? The Obamas wanted to kill. It's like, dude, do you think they're sitting in the kitchen shooting the shit about nuclear secrets with the chef? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, it's just such a far-fetched
and let's be real. Nuclear secrets that are now what, 10 years old?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, how relevant is whatever information that he has?
Like,
and I know he's ex-presidents get Secret Service briefings and all that kind of stuff. But still,
there's nothing that, it's like, oh, he didn't uncover some secret Obama's cabal. He didn't this is just one more thing where, it's like I said, just some random people throw up some facts and these nut jobs grab onto it because it just contains their keyword search of Obama or Hillary. Like, how much fucking if I see one more goddamn, like, is this Hillary the hurricane or Hillary the emails right now, like, with all this stuff? It's just like, dude, why? Like, all right, yes, that joke's been done 10,000 times in a 48-hour period. Like, let's.
Why is it that if I hear the name Hillary Clinton, I feel like someone's going to talk about a conspiracy, the next thing out of their mouth? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a name you don't hear her name very much anymore. I'll say that much. I feel like you haven't heard Hillary Clinton's name since Trump got elected.
No, I mean, she did a big interview with Rachel Maddow this last week. That was like her first one in forever. She did the interview the same day Trump was indicted in Georgia. She was on that interview, so it was like, I mean, she was just sipping her tea and smiling. Like, it's like, I told you, bitches, I was right. I was right.
You want me to answer some questions? I'm happily talk all day.
But Hillary does what all politicians that lose a race do: diss a fucking peer.
Yeah,
they go off. They do their fucking. They go do their thing. They do whatever. The only one that didn't disappear is the Orange Menace, who's still going hard after literally losing every election cycle since he won. And he's still hard, and he's still. I mean, like the thing reported yesterday, it's like 74% of Republicans believe Trump over the news, over like pastors, over the government, like over anybody. So it's like Trump can do no lie. And I don't, like I said, I don't understand why this guy who's been a shyster since day one, a celebrity person, like documented, fined, closed down charities, all this stuff, how everybody can just think like, that's my guy.
Yeah.
Especially all these Christian evangelicals.
Like the blind. The blind.
The man is a noted philanderer on his third wife. Yeah. His first wife is buried in a pauper's grave at this point on a golf cart that's overgrown. And it's like, and yet this is their guy. This is the guy that he can do no wrong. He's the great Christian savior. And I think Jackie Cation said it right. It's like all these conservative Christian people are waiting for the rapture and all this stuff. And it's just, and they're like, they want to push their Christian values and all that stuff. And it's like, guys, I don't know if you know about this rapture thing, but they don't take assholes. They take the good people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, that's exactly right.
So
we're good Catholic boys. We know the deal. Yeah, we know what's supposed to happen. You guys
are being the worst of the worst human beings, especially in the name of religion. Yeah. And it's like, you think that, you're going to be like, oh, I hated everybody my whole life and I want people to burn in hell and all this stuff. And you think you're going to be at the pearly gates at the end when all you have is hate in your heart your whole life? and you want to
like that.
fucking force
It's like
force
that on both
people's
sides
lives and
too.
stuff. Yeah,
Right? Think of all the crazy people on the left too. You know, let's not exclusively
can't gloss that
point
over.
to all the crazies on the
Yeah.
right, because it's just as bad on the left, right? If you're on either one of these ends, you're you know, you kind of go, well, wait a minute, this I don't know if I'm all in with the way all the shit you're saying here.
But
This
on
seems
the
a little
left, dude,
intense.
on the left, our far left is still far left. They're
Yeah.
still way over there. Even all of us are like, yeah, those guys
No, I think that's
are way out. But
that's
on the
big
right,
part of this.
there's no more far out. The far out is the middle of the party now.
Yes.
The far out is the mainstream. Where even, like I said, I mean, people have been leaving the Republican Party in droves for years.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and they're like, I don't recognize the party. That's why everybody wants to start this new, like the new Republican Party or the conservative.
Oh yeah, that's how
my
my folks were like that. You know, I think my folks would have been Republicans through most of their adult life if there was Republicans that they would have bought into.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were, by and large, they were small town folks with conservative values, and I think you know, again, I don't know that, but I having talked to my folks before they passed about, you know, some politics issues, I definitely feel like their parents were very much the Nixon era of Republican.
But I'll say
fandom.
this, dude. 10 years ago, this article wouldn't exist. 10
No,
years ago,
no one
when
would
Obama
care.
was president, this would have still
Yeah.
been a nothing burger of a story. It's
Yeah.
just now in the era of, you know, Democrats are pedophiles that have sex rings under a pizza store and all these other crazy, you know, Joe Biden and Will Smith are in this child pornography cabal and all these little things. It's just like all this stuff that 10 years ago wouldn't have gotten any oxygen.
Yeah.
Now 30% of Republicans believe it and live by it.
Well, and
74% of them believe 100% of what Trump says he can do no wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw that happen. I mean, I think we're part of the reason we do this podcast is we saw this shift during COVID quarantining.
Mm-hmm.
that we all had friends and people that we knew that were affected, and maybe family members that went from being pretty, you know, not extreme in their beliefs to being much more extreme in their beliefs, regardless of what type.
Thanksgiving. They ain't coming to the holidays no more. That
is not something that I remember growing up in my life. I don't remember, even if my dad and his brother did not agree on politics, I don't ever remember it being as crazy as it is in this day and age, a few decades later.
Yeah.
Well, before we turn this into a giant politics show, we should sign off and get you to some more podcasting that you can listen to, and tune into us next week for our full episode. As always, you can find us at edgingthetruth.com and at edgingthetruth on all your social media platforms. We hope you liked our discussion today and our topics. If you'd love to tell us what you think, you can always comment, but our best way to reach out to us is our voicemail, 917-979-6071. You can leave a message on what you liked, what you didn't like. You got a story you want to tell us. We'd love to hear it. And of course, you can always do whatever you can to support us. The best way to do that is, you know, buying some of our dumb merch. And we've got shirts and hats and mouse pads, and we've taken some time to make some fun designs. You can find all that at edgingthetruth.com, or if you want to go directly to the shop.edgingthetruth.com.
And don't forget our conspiracy theory notebooks. Don't forget those.
And that's absolutely right, which are coming this fall in deluxe formats.
Yeah.
We're going to maybe even do a whole little dog and pony show video about that here pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. Well, that's it for episode 12 of 2 Steps from the Edge. We will see you next time.
Visit edgingthetruth.com for more information and links to all our social media and podcast directories.